Seiji Date, or Sage, is the tallest of the troopers in the TV series. He is the only member of the 5 troopers who looks the least Japanese, though he is also the most traditional of the 5 of them. When Seiji speaks, it's always in a formal manner. His family lives on the outskirts of Sendai in the Miyagi Prefecture. He is the middle child and only boy in his immediate family. His family owns a dojo which he will one day inherit. As such, he is often referred to as the young master. With the exception of his grandfather, women have more power than men within his family. Seiji is skilled in kendo, and in the drama CD Yoroiden, it is revealed that he does teach kendo to children. His older sister, Yayoi, is 5 years older than him. She also practices kendo and speaks formally. During the series, she attends medical school. When she was younger, she often used to like using Seiji as a dress-up doll. She apparently also keeps a picture of Seiji with ribbons in his hair. His younger sister, Satsuki, is 2 years younger than him. Satsuki is less traditional than her older siblings and doesn't hold any interest in the dojo. She often refers to her older brother as Nichan. Seiji's grandfather is the head of the Date clan and serves as a very strong influence in Seiji's life. He was trained to be like the warriors of the Edo period and has trained Seiji to be the same. Seiji's mother is a teacher at the family dojo and she is only second to her father. Her husband is a police officer. He has a weak personality and took his wife's name as his own. Seiji is supposedly a descendant of Date Masamune, a famous general who was nicknamed the One-Eyed Dragon because he had lost one eye to smallpox as a child. In the second episode of the TV series, Toma makes a comment about this regarding Seiji's particular hairstyle. In Yoroiden, it is revealed that when Seiji had been a small child, he had been sickly, and because of this he was dressed as a girl with the belief that girls were easier to raise than boys. Fortunately, he has no memory of this. Seiji was also quite rebellious when he began training in kendo. He liked kendo, but he didn't like all the etiquette that came with it. To calm his rebellious spirit, his grandfather taught him how to meditate and play the bamboo flute. Seiji's particular hairstyle isn't homage to his ancestor, but is actually a suggestion from Yayoi. Seiji has sharp eyesight and the pale color makes him appear cold. Because of this, Seiji's schoolmates would cry whenever they saw him. Yayoi then suggested he cover one eye with his hair so he didn't look so intimidating. Seiji is uncomfortable around girls, which could be due to his sister's influence, though any speculations as to this are purely fanon. Seiji is the bearer of the Korin armor, also known as the armor of the halo. His guiding virtue is courtesy, though it's changed to wisdom in the dub of the series. In the OVA, his virtue is changed to grace. In Yoroiden, Seiji received his armor after demonstrating he knew the concepts of his guiding virtue. A fellow kendo practitioner named Shingo Kasumatsuri gave a challenge to Seiji, and Seiji's grandfather insisted the match take place. During the match, when Shingo was losing, he throws something into Seiji's eyes. However, only Seiji's left eye was affected because his right one was covered by his hair. Angered that Shingo would resort to cheating, Seiji knocks Shingo's helmet off, knocking him unconscious in the process. No one saw what really happened, however. All they saw was Seiji viciously attacking Shingo. Embarrassed and angered about what had occurred, Seiji's grandfather sends him to one of the outbuildings to await punishment. It's here that Seiji finds his armor. When Shingo returns to consciousness, he tells everyone what really happened. If Shingo's cheating had been revealed, he would have been banned from practicing kendo forever, but by drawing shame to himself, Seiji had spared him from this fate. Seiji's personality is aloof and can come off as cold and rude. It usually takes a while for him to open up to people, but when he does, you couldn't ask for a more devoted and caring friend. He is protective of all of his companions, especially Yo. Shin Mori, or Sai, is the oldest of the Ronin. He lives in Hagi, which is located in the Yamaguchi Prefecture. His father died when he was a child, and his mother has heart disease, which leaves her in a weakened condition much of the time. His older sister, Sayoko, is 10 years older than him and helps her mother run the family pottery shop. She is also engaged to be married. Shin has a gentle and polite personality and prefers not to fight. When he is angered, however, his anger is more focused and can take a long time for him to cool down. However, his pacifism isn't shown in the anime until the second OVA. Throughout the TV series, he often does agree with people or state the obvious. As the series progresses, he loses confidence in his powers as a samurai trooper, and by the OVAs, He's considering himself to be the weakest of the five, but he still holds strong belief in his friends. In Yoroiden, Shin had discovered his armor after reading some ancient documents that his family had. While reading the documents, he had come across a passage that depicted a rite where the men of the Mori family would dive into the sea near their home. Being the only living male in his family, Shin decides to undergo this rite himself. And as he does this, his virtue of trust awakens and he's able to swim all the way to the bottom of the ocean without an air tank. It's here that he found the armor of Suiko, or the armor of the torrent. Shin's mother apparently had some knowledge about the armors because when he told her about this, she states, "At last it has come." Shin often interacts with Shu and gets into good-natured tussles with him. In the dub, Sai is given a British accent which works well with his more calming personality. However, at times Sai's accent varies between British and Australian. Shin is supposedly descended from Mori Motonari. Shu Rei-fan, or Kento, is the brashest of the troopers. He is the eldest of 5 children. His family owns a Chinese restaurant and lives in Yokohama. He has 4 younger siblings of varying ages named Rinfi, Yun, Meiryu, and Junfa. At the first OVA, it is revealed that he has an uncle named Chin who owns a Chinese restaurant in New York. Shu doesn't often think things through. However, he is anything but stupid. He has a kind-hearted personality and is very open towards people. He also has an explosive temper which often causes him to act without thinking, though he usually feels sorry afterwards. Shu and his family is descended from Yoshitsune no Minamoto and is of Chinese origin. He had first discovered his armor when he was invited along with his next 2 siblings to a resort his family owned. This was meant as a test to see if they were worthy of inheriting the family's treasure. Shu's siblings accidentally broke some of the family's treasures. To take blame off his siblings, Shu deliberately breaks some of the treasures so that he would be punished instead of them. While he does this, the armor of Congo, or Hard Rock, appears to him as his virtue of justice awakens. Now we reach the bad guys portion of the review. I have never seen any confirmation about this concept, but I have heard theories that suggest 1 year in the dynasty equals 100 years in the human world. The one thing that makes this theory questionable, however, is that Kyra is 8 years old when she was abducted, so that would make her around 12 when the story begins. But yet she has all the body of a 16-year-old when she is first introduced into the series. As I have said earlier, much of the information about the warlords was left out of the series. Only Shuten is given an episode where we briefly learn about his past. I won't go into details as much as I did with the main heroes because there isn't much information even in the novels and companion books. One of the novels, however, did depict that Argo, or Tulpa as he's known in the English version, had once been human. He had been orphaned and raised by a monk. When he was a child, the monk who raised him was killed. As he grew, he was often teased and poorly treated because he was bigger than what was considered to be normal standards for a human. As time passed, Argo learned he could use power and force to obtain what he desired. His armor was created for him by Badamon, but since this was an armor made from the negative energies of humankind, it can be safely assumed that the armor destroyed any remaining part of Argo that was still human, rendering him into a demon. After he was defeated by Kaus, the Ancient One, he vows he would return to reclaim the human world even if it took him 1,000 years. Like I have mentioned in the rundown of the series, Kaus split Argo's armor into 9 separate armors. Also, somehow Argo was able to appear and seduce the warlords into serving him. However, I have seen some question as to whether the warlords were truly from the 4 of the 9 families who were protecting the armors. The warlords were all from the Sengoku era, and they were all majorically low-level soldiers. Even 2 of the warlords were from countries that had been attacked by families that 2 of the troopers hail from. This is a possible reason why those 2 warlords choose to torment the troopers from those 2 families. Also, the troopers have stories passed down through each of their families about the armors their family protects, and there's often a test or trial of some sort in order to prove themselves as the armor's true bearer. It's highly likely the warlords may have been from 4 of the 9 chosen families, and that their virtues were able to be easily corrupted because they are Bushido virtues that regard loyalty and service to one's master in utmost importance. However, it's also plausible that Argo may have found 4 warriors who could have been easily corrupted because of all the wars and battles that were taking place in the feudal era, that happened to have virtues that were strong enough to be a potential match for the armors, and sent them to slay the families protecting the armors so that they could take the armors for themselves.